there is a spiritual tension when it comes to grief versus presence, because grief naturally pulls our attention backward, but God is continually inviting our hearts into the present moment and right now. So if grief becomes the only lens we look through, we begin to miss the laughter of children, the warmth of simple traditions, the trips to Cherokee Caverns, the small mercies that quietly sustain us. And so Lamentations 3:22 through 23 says, because the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. So God's mercies keep arriving even in seasons of sadness, right? And each morning still carries God's faithfulness. And the idea here is that grief is not something that we ignore or something that we rush past, but grief also does not mean you have to define everything. It doesn't have to define every moment. Joy does not erase grief, but grief does not have to erase joy either. And so I gently encourage viewers that might be struggling with this to experience or acknowledge or notice one moment of joy today, in the present. Maybe even pinch yourself. I once had a person say, if you're thinking about other things, pinch yourself, and then that will remind you to be here right now. And I've done that a couple of times, to be honest. But don't feel guilty about going through grief. And in fact, I never think you should. I think you should process those emotions, but receive that one moment of joy as a gift from God, not a betrayal to your grief. In other words, the joy and grief don't have to contradict one another or clash. They can actually coincide and exist together.